Hi, ladies. Welcome to today's live broadcast on Facebook and on YouTube is how to know if he's the one. So this topic is a no-brainer for me because obviously I'm with Michael, but also because I really trust myself. And when I was thinking about how I was going to share about how to know if he's the one, the first thing that I came up with was you have to be able to trust yourself. Self-trust is a critical piece in making that determination, that distinction, if a man is the one or not. And so when you trust yourself, you have confidence. When you have confidence, it allows others to trust you. When you trust yourself, it brings more confidence that allows others to trust you like your man. And that creates more of a commitment and a more knowing on your part whether or not he's the one. And I remember my mother said, I can't remember how old I was. I think I was like in high school. And I said, Mom, how do you know he's the one? How do you know? And she said, you'll just know. And I thought, okay, I'll just know. And that's all she would tell me. And I was so frustrated at the time, I remember. And then I started to think about it before I started hit the record button, and I was thinking she was right. It is a knowing. It's a gut level knowing that this person is right for you. And so if you're not connected to your gut, to your intuition, to your wisdom, it will be you will have a lot of self-doubt, and you will also maybe sabotage your relationship. That happens a lot. When I'm working with women, one of the first things we want to do is really work on building up your ability to make good decisions for yourself. And then if the decision turns out to be maybe you would have made another decision in hindsight, then at least you understand that the benefit of the lesson in making the decision to begin with. Decisions move us forward. So we have to be consistently making decisions. The more decisions you make, the more you trust yourself and the easier it is for you. A lot of times, though, what happens is that that in the past, you might have made the decision to be involved with somebody who really hurt you. So that would leave some residual feelings of self-doubt and not wanting to make another decision like that because it really impacted your life. I've worked with women that have made decisions to be with men in long-term relationships, marriages that turned out to be abusive, or there was infidelity or whatever. And we've all had a little touch of that, I'm sure, if you're watching this. So the important thing is when you're thinking about, is he the one, you want to look at your history. Maybe when you made decisions when you were younger, you had a very critical parent. That could prohibit you from making quick decisions and clear decisions, concise and decisive decisions. And that's what it takes when you're in a relationship. It's one of the biggest reasons why relationships move forward is when you're really clear, you really trust yourself. That brings forward that confidence I was just talking about. And your partner, the man you're involved with, he picks up on that confidence coming from you, and he makes him feel confident as well. So you start mirroring each other's level of commitment. And that's why it's so important for you to, once you have your gut level knowing, and I'm going to give you some other tips along the way, things to look for, then you want to mirror that to the man you're with so that he feels confident about his choice, choosing you, and that you're the one. And so one of the biggest things that I will say with my relationship with Michael, and what I strongly feel this way. Hi, ladies. Hi, Cindy. Hi there. Hi, Facebook girls. So happy to have you here. Hi, Noelle. Hi, Leslie. Take a minute to say hi to my ladies there. And Debbie, hi. And over on YouTube, hi, Julie. Hi, ladies. Hi, Linda. Nice to have you here. 2 Julies. And so effortless is what I was going to say. It's effortless between me and Michael and what I mean by that, there's, of course, everything's not perfect. I mean that what I mean is that when we were dating, it was easy. Things just fit together. There wasn't a struggle. There wasn't a struggle with really anything major. And so it was easy to move forward and easy. And it just felt good. That was another indicator, is how you feel. I felt good about my time with him. I felt good about the way he was treating me. I felt good about his actions, and I felt good about his follow through. And one of the things that made it effortless, and I really encourage this, is to find men that have things in common with you. Having things in common with your partner is really, really important, I believe. I think it's probably one of the most important things. And that whole thing with opposites attract, it turns out that's not true. Opposites don't attract. Likes attract. And so Michael and I have a lot of things in common. And the things that we don't have in common, we're okay with. But how we kind of got to that point, and what I recommend that you all do, because I was just working with my clients on our non-negotiables and deal breakers. And so if you know what your non-negotiables are and your deal breakers are, it makes attracting a man into your life so much easier, because when you meet somebody, he might be a wonderful person, but right away you know that he has children under the age of fill in the blank, he's not for you. So you don't get stuck in relationships that don't go anywhere. Or you don't get stuck in a relationship where later you're like, I went against my better judgment, which was dating a man who had young children. And now we are spending a lot of time babysitting. So that might be okay with some of you, but maybe it won't be for others. Now, my deal breakers were really, really specific, and I attached why to them. This really helps you. So I wanted to date a man that had children that were over the age of 14. Why? And the why keeps you anchored to your belief, your decision, so that you don't doubt yourself. And that's why I want to give you the why. And I want you to come up with your why. I'm going to give you my why. So why? Because I'd already raised my kids, and I didn't want to have any more conversations around soccer and carpools and all of that. I really wanted to be in a place where I was dating a man who had children similar ages or older, so we can start having those discussions that I was having about colleges and et cetera. And then I was also really close to being an empty nester. And I wanted to have a man in my life who was in the same place, so we could start enjoying our life together. I'd already raised my kids. I wanted to be the baby, so I didn't want any babies, any more babies in the equation. So I was really clear on that. And I did meet some men who had really wonderful qualities and had a lot of things that we had in common, although they had younger children. So I let them go really quickly because I was so clear about my deal breakers and non-negotiables. So I can't overemphasize how important that is. I mean, just think if I would have went against my better judgment and went out with a man who had even an 8-year-old. There's nothing wrong with children. I love children. It's just that that would have taken, we would have had to spend, our quality time would have looked very different than it does now. And so another one of my non-negotiables was the fact that I didn't want to date anybody that lived outside of La Jolla. And I remember Michael asking me, why did you go out with me? And I said, because you lived in La Jolla. And he thought that was crazy. He really didn't understand what I meant by that. He said, well, no, really, tell me. And I said, no, really, it's because you lived in La Jolla, and that's one of my criteria. I said, I lived for 22 years on an island. I like small towns. I really like the village here in La Jolla, and I just did not want to have to commute on the freeway, especially after living on an island. So I was really clear that I could manifest. So your deal breakers really help you with manifesting as well. I was really clear that I could manifest a man within the 25-mile radius because I had a belief that that was possible. And also, I had a belief that I wanted to just be in La Jolla and not drive. So don't second guess these. These are really important to how you're going to live your life when you're together. And that's why you don't want to second guess these. And then what was the other deal breaker that I had? That he had was active. And that was really specific for me, and not everybody needs, we all want to be active, but I was specifically looking for an active man because I really enjoy being outdoors. I enjoy hiking, and I want to continue to ski and surf and stand up paddle and do the things, play tennis that I like to do for as long as I can. And I actually need to do those things. I have a lot of energy. I need to work out and move that energy on a regular basis. And I wanted somebody who did the same thing, so it would be easy for me. It would make my life easier if I had a partner in that, so that it wasn't just me going to the gym all the time or wanting to go on hikes. That's why common interests are so important. So Michael had those things. So I took a really good look at him because he had the things that were the most important to me, That made my decision much easier. And that's why I encourage all of you to really look at, your deal breakers and non-negotiables. And then also the confidence, going back to when I first started the call, looking at your level of self-confidence and self-trust and about making a decision like this. And in fact, it's one of the things that I really, really see women struggle with, especially when they talk to me in private calls, is they doubt themselves. So make a decision, then they'll doubt themselves. And that comes from being criticized in the past. Maybe you had a really judgmental, critical parent or parental figure that every time you made a decision, they doubted you. And that would cause you to not trust yourself to make good decisions. So you might grow up doubting yourself and your ability to make good decisions. And maybe you made a decision to get involved with somebody who was not a good match for you, and subsequently it led to some really painful experiences. And so that would cause you to pause, right, if you're making that decision. And so so definitely looking at your trust in yourself and your ability to make decisions and be decisive. And so let me answer some questions. Those of you who have some questions here. I'm just looking on Facebook. You're even more, your gut will tell you you are making a mistake. Yes, you'll start to have that disturbing feeling back here, this little thing that starts to happen. It starts to, these thoughts keep going over and over in our mind, where we start to question our decisions. If you don't listen to your gut, that's going to continue to be something that you'll have to wrestle with. And so following your intuition. But let's talk about that just for a second. That's a little suspect, because what if you're sourcing your wisdom through a painful experience lens? That's really what happens. So what I mean by that is that you've had a painful experience. You have had a divorce, perhaps, or maybe you've never been married. So you've had some experiences that led you to where you are now that maybe were painful. So if you haven't done that deep work to clear out those painful experiences and fully heal your heart, you may be sourcing your intuition through that lens of that pain. So that would cause you to, when people say I'm going to follow my intuition, I'm like, are you sure it's your intuition, or is that the pain talking? The pain is very loud. It has a really loud voice, because the pain comes from your mind wanting to remind you that you've been hurt and wanting to keep you from being hurt again. And that's why you want to really clear out those old painful experiences so that you can get a real clarity when it comes to your intuition. And in fact, that's exactly what I am an expert at doing. And last week I announced that I opened my private practice with my private clients for 2 women. And I'm so excited to announce that I filled one of those spots. I'm so honored to be working with this new lovely woman. And I'm inviting all of you who are on the call and resonate with the work, and you've struggled with maybe making decisions or finding the one, healing your heart, stop attracting emotionally unavailable men, all of those things that really can sabotage us from moving forward and into our life with the one. There's a link in the box below that you can go and fill out a form. It's just a brief questionnaire, so that when we get on the phone together and it's a complimentary call, I'm prepared to dialogue with you, so we don't waste time getting your history. You'll provide a little bit of it up front. So if that's resonating with you and calling to you because you haven't really gotten the kind of results that you're looking to get and that you deserve to have, please reach out to me. Let's see if we are fit to work together. Okay, let me take some questions from YouTube. Okay, let's see. Been messaging someone I met online who is military Marine. We messaged each other for 2 months. He's on assignment overseas and we never met. He asked me a favor to buy him an Amazon gift card. Okay, well, I'm glad that you shared that with all of us. That's called a scammer. And I'm sorry to have to be the one to tell you that, but when a man asks you for money and you've never met him and he's overseas, those are the red flags that say scammer. Don't ever give a man money. A real man, your guy, will never ask you to give him money. They just don't do that. And so, sweetheart, I would recommend cutting off all your correspondence with him and reporting him to the site that you were on, so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned money and hurt your heart, right, by violating your own boundaries now that you're aware of this. So let's move on to the next question. He lives in my hometown. I cannot find a particular doctor for my physical pain. We really think we could be great together. What do I do? So I'm not really sure what your question is. Sounds like you'll be great together. I'm not sure what the question is with that, Lisa. Maybe you can repost it. I just started to date after being divorced for 4 years. I have special needs children. When would that be a best time to tell someone I'm dating that this is my situation? Great question. So love all these questions, ladies. So there is no need to tell a man that you have a special needs child or that you have any kind of disability that's not visible because they can see it if it is like my hearing aids, until you know for a fact that you are moving into an exclusive relationship. What is the point? Information's on a need to know basis, and they don't need to know that. Now, if it comes up organically in a conversation, that's fine. If you can say, "Oh, I've got to leave a little bit early. I've got a special needs son, and he needs another extra 15 minutes to get him to school," or whatever it is, you can just casually drop that into conversation, see how it's received. I know on one of my calls, I shared that boundaries are you share a little bit, you see how it's received, then you share a little bit more. So, but I don't want you to lead with this because it doesn't define you. You're not your children's behavior, you're not their disabilities, you're not even your disabilities. You're so much more than that. So you want to develop that connection, develop the rapport. After things are developed and there's a move for exclusivity, then I think that, and maybe, right up before that, you'll know that you're getting along great. You can talk to him about your children. But I would always come from an empowered place. I wouldn't come from a place on how hard it is and the struggles. I come up from a place that, in spite of the disability, I feel very fortunate because I have the capacity, the patience, and the love and empathy and understanding to take care of this child. So I actually feel it's a blessing that we were put together. So something like that, something that really shows your character, that you are a strong, compassionate, wonderful woman, and you've risen to the occasion to take care of your children. Isn't that wonderful? I just got goosebumps. And that's something a man is going to latch on to. He's also going to latch on to the storyline about how terrible it is. So make sure you present the best one. And we all have things in our past, things in our lives that we have to bring into the relationship. And it's just a matter of how you present them and how you're coping with it. Yay, I love it when I'm getting those cute little thumbs up and those smiley faces over on YouTube. They're so fun to see. Hi, Connie. Let's see. I think that's all the questions I have. And let's see. I'm just scrolling up on YouTube here. Okay, here's a question I'll answer about STDs. When is it appropriate to ask them to be tested for STDs? I think that I think that this is a great question. And so again, this is something that you do when you're going to move to be exclusive, never before. What if you never become exclusive and you never cross that bridge over into physical intimacy? There's no need to disclose your personal health, but it is important to disclose it before you do. And so say things are heating up and you're getting closer to that moment where you want to solidify your relationship with physical intimacy. And so I would hold off from actually, having that come up. And what you want to do is just like slow the roll. Say you're having a passionate kiss or whatever, and you're sitting on the couch, and then you might do something like this. I think this would be really nice. Is you can sit back and go, you know what? I really like where this is going, and I want to keep going, but I have to say this is probably a good time for us to have the STD talk. What do you think? You just smile, and it's like, hey, maybe we should have that awkward talk now. Because face it, it is awkward, and we have to have it because men will respect you for having the courage to bring it up. And here's what happened to one of my clients. She did exactly what I told her to do. And he said, you're right. And you know what? I'm sorry. I should have brought it up first. That's what he said. That was his response. And what a wonderful way to approach it. Two adults having a conversation that need to be had, and having a good outcome. Won't always necessarily be good, but you have to do it and feel really proud of yourself when you do that, because you're the one who brought this forward because it's important to you and it's one of your maybe non-negotiables. And so why don't we both get our blood work done, and then as soon as we get our results, and I'm sure whatever it is, we can work through it. And maybe you don't say that. Maybe you don't say you can work through it because maybe that's a deal breaker for you. For a lot of people, it's not. I don't know what the statistics are for STDs like herpes, but a lot of people have them. So it's worth, really drilling into where you stand with that, so that you're not caught off guard by your partner sharing it, the man you're dating, or by you having to share that. And you want to be transparent, but you don't want to lead with, like I did with the disabled child. You want to lead with the positivity, And so yes, have that conversation, and then go get the test, and then celebrate, and then have your physical connection. That's what I recommend you do. And if a man falls away or gets upset because you asked him to have that done, then he's not your guy, because we all know as adults that this is a very it's an important part of trusting each other, is being microscopically honest when it comes to our health, so that the other person feels safe with us. Nothing worse than coming back after the fact and having to admit something that you should have shared up front. It really says something about your character and about fear and your own insecurity. So I know it's hard sometimes to share when you have something like that, but it's important that you do. As long as you don't lead with it, it's not who you are. I'm not my hearing aids, right? I'm more than that. But I did share it with Michael because, and I know it doesn't really compare to having herpes or something, but just want to give you some perspective. You're not those things. They're just something that happened, and you certainly didn't ask for that to happen. It happens to people, and there's a remedy for it now. So I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. If the other person doesn't, he's not going to be a fit for you. Okay, ladies, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm so happy to connect with all of you today. I hope that you are kind of getting your groove back after summer. It's kind of unofficially over, but I know it's still really hot in a lot of regions. And my heart goes out to all the people that are under duress for all these storms right now. And I'm just sending all of you on the East Coast and in the Carolinas and Florida so much love, and praying for all of you to be safe and to stay safe. And thank you all for being here. I just love meeting up with you on a weekly basis. And don't forget about the link in the box below to fill out the form if you're resonating with the coaching and you would like to talk about one-on-one coaching with me. This is your opportunity. Okay, ladies, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for being here. Bye. Bye, Facebook ladies. Bye, YouTube ladies. Love you.